What is up there, everybody? Citrus Aviation here for yet another video, and today we have massive unboxing number 16. This will be covering models I picked up at Airliners International 2023 part 1. There'll be two parts to this unboxing. There'll be massive unboxing 16 and then massive unboxing 17, where I'll talk about the models that I picked up at Airliners International. So we're going to start off here with these 5 JetBlue models. I do apologize for sounding a little bit sick today. I am recovering from an illness right now. So hopefully it doesn't sound too bad in the video. But here we go. We got some models, starting with these 5 JetBlues. And I picked up all these at Airliners International. Basically, these almost double my JetBlue collection. I think I have 6 right now. And these 5 make it up to 11 JetBlue models I have. So let's take a look at them. So the 5 JetBlue models that we have here are the Airbus 320 Circlets. This is the altitude models A320. This is a duplicate copy of the one that I recently picked up because this one is fully intact. I picked this up at West Coast Diecast at his booth. Use the code CITRUS if you want 10% off any order from West Coast Diecast. Just put in the code, doesn't matter if it's all caps, all lowercase, doesn't matter. You can still get 10% discount. These two are also from West Coast Diecast. These are the so exclusive NG Models JetBlue A321 200S. This is technically the 3rd release of the Prism Tail by NG, because they did the first one, then they did, I want to say it's the 100th aircraft, and then this one is also a special A321 with a unique registration. So for those of you who are collectors of tails, you can get all 3 separate NG releases. I happen to pick up 2 of them. One is broken. I picked up for $5, and the other one I picked up at full retail, $50. Then we have a JetBlue A220-300. I picked up this one for just $33 at a table, which is great. And then this JetBlue A320. This is in one of the older tails. I want to say this one's called the Harlequin tail, and this one is a 320. Picked up for $40 at a table that had great prices. So let's go ahead and take a look at these models and unbox them. Alright, so let's start off here with the JetBlue 320. This is my second altitude model variant of it. Here's my first one. So the second one, this one I was able to check and it had no issues with it. Unfortunately, when I did that video, there was no way for me to check before I got the model to see if it was in good shape or not. But at the cell, I was able to test them to ensure they were all in good shape. As you can see, this one is in perfect condition. So good to see that. Wheels roll perfectly fine, so I'm very happy to have this one. I'm not going to do a close-up of this, because if you saw that video, you'll see my close-up of that model, and there's nothing really here to sell other than this one is in great condition. Alright, we have 2 of the same models to look at. This is the special exclusive A321. Let's start with the one that's in perfect condition first, which I believe is this one. It does come with the NG Models card too, which is nice to see. And as you can see, it did get smushed a little bit. Some of these got a little bit squished when I was transporting them in my carry-on suitcase. This is why the ones that were in the Pelican case came in perfect condition. Nothing happened. But a couple of the ones in the suitcase got smushed a little bit. As you can see, the box here got a little bit sandwiched. But it just is what it is. This model's in perfect shape, as you can see. And it's really, really, really neat to see a JetBlue 321. This was actually one of the models on my list that I wanted to pick up at the show. And so when I heard they were doing the exclusive at the show, I was like, yes, all right, I'll pick that up. And then we have the second one, which this one is damaged. And also, if I remember, it doesn't come with a card. Yeah, no collector card for this one. But as you can see, there's a second engine in there that should be attached here. And that's basically what's wrong with it. There might be an antenna missing too. Yeah, the antenna back here is missing. So, other than that, I'm not going to show this model anymore. You can see it also got a little bit smushed en route as well. Just is what it is with when you're transporting stuff via air. This sort of thing can happen. But I'm going to leave that one in there for now. This one is going to go into the repair pile of models I need to repair. Which I'll be doing a separate video on that at some point in the near future on how to fix your models. So, stay tuned for that and you'll get to see that here. Maybe in the next month or so, I'll actually get that video out on how to fix your model airplanes. But yeah, that will be a video. And then, yeah, let's take a look at the last 2 models. JetBlue A220. This was one that was in the Pelican case. You can see the box is in perfect condition. Nothing happened to it. And the model is in great shape too. $33 for this. which I thought was a good price. 33, no, actually I paid 38 for this. I bought this on the first day of the sale. And then the second day they dropped it down to 33 for the couple that they had left. So if you were looking for this, they actually had some good, there's this table that had some good deals. It's the ADI table, and they had some great deals on model airplanes. And then here we have the A320 Harlequin tail. Really cool model here. This is a model from a long time ago. What is the copyright date on it? 2002 release, so very old one. One of the first ones they did this box design. This was their, what they called the Gemini Jets 2 era. They had this little banner here, and this is a really cool one. This is one of the first ones they did a nice colorful design for the boxes. It would be sort of predecessor to the boxes they do now. But yeah, here's the model. Not as detailed as the more modern ones, but still a nice representation of the older JetBlue livery. And yeah, with that being said, let's take a closer look at these. Taking a look at the model, here we have the nose cone, the cockpit windows. That is a static port right there. And then the name of the aircraft, Shades of Blue. JetBlue names all their planes, which is really cool. The L1 door, the JetBlue titles. Back in the day when people could just, I don't know, read the name of the plane instead of having to have it in giant billboard titles. Of course, it says jetblue.com on the engines. Let's see if we can get that in focus. Right there. Of course, this model is not as detailed as you might see some others that are more modern, but the mold back then was actually really solid and better, in my opinion, than the current one. Registration here is November 504 Juliet Bravo and Airbus 320. You can see back here one of the weaknesses of this mold. They had a single piece horizontal stabilizer with a really ugly seam that's really obvious. And the Harlequin tail, which is basically these diamonds, which is really neat. And on the other side, the only main difference here is we had rear and forward cargo doors. The engines were fairly simple in the terms of their detail. So you can see not a whole lot of detail on this model, but it's a pretty solid example of what the Airbus 320 looked like, where some of the more modern models with the newer details have become a bit more complicated and therefore have had some more issues. Next up, we have the 321. This is my first A321 in my fleet for JetBlue. Of course, now they have two of them, of course, first of two. But here we go. Start with the nose. We have this, of course, beautiful NG models A321. Their A321 is gorgeous. It's amazing. Cockpit windows. We have the static port and pitot tubes are detailed on this one. Of course, a forward antenna. We have the nose gear detail, which is really nice with the parcel registration. And of course, we have the name Menta Fresca, which is Spanish for fresh mint. So this was one of the mint A321s. So they do some Spanish stuff on the aircraft, which is really cool. Menta Fresca, fresh mint, which is really cool. L1 door, which is really nicely detailed. Of course, it says JetBlue Fly-Fi there. We have the modern billboard titles. We have an L2 door as well. Of course, it says jetblue.com on the engines. And the winglet is blue. Here we go. On the back, you can see it says our 200th aircraft. This is a special delivery they had, as this was their 200th aircraft delivered. Registration, November 942 Juliet Bravo. As you can see, it says Airbus 321 there. Again, L3 door, have a SATCOM box, two antennas up top, and an antenna on the bottom. L4 door as well, as this is the lower density A321 configuration. And of course, here we have the beautiful prism tail, which is one of my favorite JetBlue tails of all time. And then here we have the Airbus A220-300. Again, cockpit windows. Pitot tubes, SETI ports are very much visible. Parcel registration on the nose gear. This has the new taller nose gear with the new Gemini Jets gears, and you can tell it is a little bit too tall. They really sort of sorted it a little bit. Because let me bring in the A321 to give you a height comparison. Yeah, the A220 shouldn't be looking taller than an A321. If you take a look at it, the 220 is shown as being taller than the A321. That's a small, issue. That shouldn't be happening. These aircraft the 220 should actually be shorter than the 321. Let me pull this into center frame here. There, you can see it. That's not how it's supposed to look. So, yes, feel free to screen cap that and do with it what you like, but that ain't supposed to be how it's supposed to look. But yeah, going back to the model, here we have it. it has a lot of nice details. This Gemini Jets, they do a great job at their printing. You can see there is the L1 detail with the blue Fi there, which is JetBlue's Wi-Fi, and then you can see it says dawning of a blue era, as this was one of their first A220-300s delivered. I believe this one in particular was their first. Not quite the first, but this one was one of the first ones delivered. 3008 Juliet was delivered. This one is 3044 Juliet. By the way, you can see the JetBlue titles there. The antenna up top, the engines with JetBlue.com. These are tilted up a little bit, which is a typical issue that Gemini Jet's been having at their factory. See, it's a little bit high on this side as well. But the fan blade detail is quite nice. Very nice detail in there. Overwing emergency exit. And of course we have another antenna, well, two more antennas, one right there, and the SATCOM box. And of course the registration, November 344 Juliet, or 3044 Juliet is the registration with the Airbus A220 titles right there. This is their new tail, which I don't remember what this one is called, if it's like hops or something, but this one is really cool. An additional detail JetBlue is doing for the A220s that the model shows is that the tail design is painted on the inside of the winglet now, which is really, really cool. Great to see that on the model. Alright, next four models are all models that are on my list for airports that I need them for. The Virgin Atlantic A330-900neo is on my list for Atlanta, and the Breeze A220-300 is on my list for Las Vegas. I actually end up flying on this aircraft. We'll talk about that later. But these two weren't on my official list, but they do fly into Las Vegas quite a bit, and I did need them for my model airport, and I saw them, I picked them up. The new Gemini Jets Janet 737-600, which is apparently a new mold, so I'm excited to see how that is. And then the Allegiant Airbus 319. These fly into Las Vegas a lot. I don't have an Allegiant 319, so this was my chance to get one. Hopefully I can pick up the Panda one too, because I really want the Panda 319, but haven't been able to pick one of those up as of yet. Let's start by taking a look here at this Virgin Atlantic Airbus 330-900neo. I bought this from the Texas airplane store. They had a booth there. The first one I looked at that they had an issue with this gear being stuck and it wasn't rolling. So they had another one that they let me take a look at, and it had no gear issues. All these are rolling, which is great. So I ended up picking up this one. Really nice model. Gemini Jets does do a nice job with their A330neos, and so yeah, nice model here. My second actually, Gemini Jets A330neo. My first one was the Delta Team USA that did a video on recently back in I want to say May. But yeah, really cool model, and we'll take a close look at here in a second. This Breeze A220 is a special one for me because I flew on this aircraft. Not this exact tail number. This is November 203 Bravo Zulu. I flew on Sister Ship 204 Bravo Zulu. Both these are recently delivered A220s to Breeze. And I flew on this aircraft from Las Vegas to Akron, Ohio. So to CAK, LAS to CAK. Pretty cool. Really enjoyed my experience on Breeze. I definitely will be flying them again. And I was happy to pick up a model of this plane. Next up, we got the Janet Boeing 737-600. This is supposedly on a brand new mold, so I'm really excited to see how it is and taking a close look at it. These obviously operate out of Las Vegas, as you can see here at the picture. But they operate Area 51 flights as part of their essentially secret operations missions that they operate for the United States government. And it is a new mold. It does look like it actually is a brand new mold. And no quality issues so far on mine that I have. So pretty cool to see. And great to have this one. The only issue I'm seeing is actually my nose gear is stuck. Doesn't want to roll. So that's not ideal. Actually looks like it's bent a little bit. Yeah, can you see that? It's kind of bent there a little bit to the side. That's probably what's causing the gears not to move. So that's not ideal at all. Gemini Jets. Alright, finally we have this Allegiant 319. Now this box got kind of destroyed. This is a card when it was being sent back. I put it in my carry-on bag and it got kind of smushed. So that's why I prefer to use the Pelican hard cases. I did have to put some of these in my carry-on bag, but the carry-on is not quite as protective as the Pelican cases are, so that's why I use the Pelican cases much more now. You can see, yes, that's not ideal at all. So that's what happens when you have your bags handled by the ramp agents at the airport and you don't put them in a protective hard case. As someone who used to walk on the ramp, trust me, if you're transporting models, put them in a good hard case. Say a hard case means something like this Pelican Air case. Just put your models in here, well protected, nice foam, protection and inserts, plastic hard case. It'll protect your models against being smushed and against the weather. And I found, from my experience, it even does a little bit of climate control, a little bit, for the items you put in here. So very protective, very good. You can see even with this one, this case has gotten beaten up a little bit, but that's just because we're on the ramp. You're gonna be tossing these things around. It just is the reality. So protect your models, put them in a good case like this one. Starting off here with the Virgin Atlantic Airbus 330. Start with the black cockpit window mask that goes around the cockpit windows. That's a feature on modern Airbuses. We can see the lady there with the British flag. It says Britain's flag carrier and then the name of the aircraft. I believe it says something like Britannia Holiday, something like that. It's hard to tell, even with the magnifying equipment, a phone. It is hard to tell exactly what it says there, so someone in the comment section could let me know. L1 door, forward antenna, Airbus A330-900. And then on the nose gear door, we have the parcel registration. I believe Virgin Atlantic uses 2 letters for the parcel registration. They do. It says Alpha Zulu on there. You can see the main Virgin Atlantic titles, which go across aircraft here. Billboard titles. They look really, really nice on this model. L2 door. And then we have the engines here, which are the Rolls-Royce engines that were optioned for the Virgin Atlantic A330s. Looks really nice. Fan blade details look nice, and you can see it. You can actually see through. It's a hollow core engine, so you can see through it. The main gears also tilt, which is nice to see. We also have the red wingtip, which looks nice. L3 door. We have an antenna, SATCOM box, not antenna. Registration, Golf Victor Juliet Alpha Zulu. And then the Virgin tail, which looks really nice. Really nice metallic finish. I think Gemini Jets does a really nice job doing the Virgin Atlantic livery, which is very difficult due to the metallic finish on the paint. But this is a really nice job here, and it looks great. Over to the Allegiant Airbus 319. Once again, you can see the cockpit windows here. We have the static ports here. You can see one here, as well as one over here. These are the 2 main static ports on this side, and then they are mirrored on the other side of the aircraft. A static port is basically an area for electric discharge on the aircraft. These areas are marked with a red outline, as you can see here, and they are usually heated. I found that out when I walked on the ramp, and let's just say I only touched a static discharger once because it's very hot and it burnt my hand. Didn't really like that a whole lot. So yeah. The static ports are very important, particularly in the discharging should the aircraft encounter a lightning strike. These are very important parts of the aircraft to protect the electronic components that are stored behind them. Here you can see the 2 PDOP tubes for the Airbus 319. These are also heated as well. They are not fun to touch when they are hot, just like the static ports. You can see the antenna up top, L1 door, and the nose gear, which has the parcel registration of 321. The Allegiant billboard titles can be seen here, as well as the CFM56B engines. These are a partnership between CFM, I forget who the other company is. But the issue with these, as you can see, is that they are just slightly too big. The actual CFM56 engines aren't this size. And of course, this is the main complaint that people have with this Gemini Jets mold. The engines are just too big. Another thing is that the nose shape is a little bit off. The Airbus has a very perfectly round shape, and as you take a look at it, it's not quite perfectly round, it's more pointed, almost more like a Boeing 737, which is not accurate for this aircraft type at all. This should be a very round shape. It should look a lot more like what the NG1 looks like, which I'll bring that into frame. The NG1 looks much more accurate to an actual Airbus 321, very round as you can see, whereas the Gemini Jets 1 has more of a pointiness to it, and so the Gemini Jets 1 is more accurate as it was. The NG Models 1 is more accurate as a result. Currently, there are some rumors going around that there is a new Airbus mold coming out from JC Waynes, so hopefully that fixes the issue. We do have a 2 over-the-wing escape exits. The Airbus 319 for Allegiant does actually have 2 escape exits on each side. Reason being is that Allegiant operates the high density variant of this aircraft, the very high density variant, and therefore, to meet regulations, an extra pair of emergency doors had to be fitted to the wings. And so that's why you have the A320 number of emergency exits. Near the rear of the aircraft, we have 2 more antennas up top. You can see right here and right here. Registration, November 321, November Victor. And then we have the Allegiant Suntail, which looks really, really nice. Alright, so taking a look at the JannitAir Boeing 737-600, this is the famous Area 51 transporter. It goes from Las Vegas to Area 51. Starting off here, we have the cockpit windows and the PDOP tubes. Very simple livery. It's literally just a white aircraft with a red cheat line across it. You can see the L1 door. The cabin, from my understanding, also leaves a lot to be desired. There's nothing special about it because obviously it's missing. It's just to transport people. We have an antenna up top and another antenna. This is apparently a new mold. As you can see, the wing root detail is much improved over some earlier Gemini efforts. There are no antennas on the underside, which is something that Gemini Jets are starting to do with their molds now. On the nose, you can see it's a blank gear door with the gear stuck here, as shown earlier in the video. That's definitely not ideal to be seen that. It should be able to roll, but it seems it's bent a little bit, which is causing that issue. The new wing seam, though, does look quite nice, and overall, this looks to be a fairly decent little upgrade to the 737-600, which I believe is something that Gemini Jets has never made before, so maybe they'll do a WestJet one, we'll see. The CFM engines look pretty decent. Fan blade details look to be pretty decent as well. Registration, November 273 Romeo Hotel, APU housing detail, and horizontal stabilizers, and of course, the vertical stabilizer is all white, nothing other than just white there. So yeah, that's basically it. You can see the APU housing detail does have a nice little bit of depth to it here in the back with the exhaust fan, which is nice to see. Something that Gemini Jets has not done before. So them not seen on the 600 is a little crease, which is something that NG does between the cargo compartment and the main passenger compartment. I'm not seeing that on this mold. Now the 600 is so small it maybe doesn't have that. I haven't researched it properly enough to know, but I know the larger 737s do. But this is a preview to what their other 737 NGs might look in the future. I'd be okay with it. It certainly is an improvement. I do think the nose is maybe a little bit too rounded. It's kind of got the opposite issue the Airbus does, where the Airbus is a bit too flat. This one's a bit too round. The 737 should have a more of a defined shape, almost more of like a side cheek. Right about here. It should be somewhat flat going in this area. This is quite round. And when we take a look at the NG 737 Maxes, we'll see that that mold does not have that issue. Finally, we have the Breeze A220, and once again, this landing gear is a little bit too tall, just like on the JetBlue. Another thing to note that I didn't mention on the JetBlue is it does cause this aircraft to kind of have a aft tilting direction. So the A220, if I zoom out here, looks like it's tilting backwards a little bit, which is not accurate to the actual type, and this issue is caused by the nose gear being a bit too tall. In actuality, it should be flat, it should be level, and it shouldn't be tilting up like an E170. So that is an accuracy detail that they got wrong on this one because the gear is a little bit too tall. The nose section looks really nice. The pointed shape is very good. Cockpit windows, of course, look really nice. The gear does have good detail at least, and we have the parcel registration there of 203 on the gear door. Here we have the L1 door. We have the Breezy titles, as you can see with the check mark. This wasn't necessarily going to be called Moxie Airways, which is why their 2-letter designation is MX, and the MXY is a 3-letter designation. They were initially going to be called Moxie Airways, and then I assume at some point a marketing firm came in and was like, we can come up with a better name than that, we'll call it Breeze. So that's what it is now. We have the antenna up top. We have the engines, which appear to be correctly leveled on this side, not so much on this side, but yeah, a bit better. The engine detail is really good. Of course, we have the blue wingtip with the check mark on it, which is really cool to see. The overwing emergency exit, which is nice. We have 2 more antennas, where one here and one right here. Airbus A220 right here, US flag, and the registration 203 Bravo Zulu, November 203 Bravo Zulu, and then the big check mark, which this is a really nice implementation. If you're gonna do a logo that goes from the tail down to the fuselage, this is a really nice implementation of it because it's a very seamless way they did check mark, and I love the fact this is not a your white livery. The blue livery looks super nice. I really like it a lot. Of course, we have the forward and aft cargo compartments here. And then for those of you who are wondering where I sat right here on the A220 in the first row of nice, which is the regular main economy cabin. So I sat in the first row of it right here over the wing. So it was a great experience. I believe it was something like 12F, I believe was the seat number. But it was actually a really nice experience, and I actually would recommend Flying Breeze if you want to give it a shot. Really nice airline and a great experience. And here we go, my first Delta A321neo of quite a few that I want to pick up. Panda made this one. This is November 502 Delta X-Ray. They also made 501. Gemini Jets made 501, as did Aero Classics, and Engine Models made 502 Delta X-Ray as well. So I'm very excited to be picking up my first of the Panda versions. I hope to pick up the other one as well as the NG version and the Gemini Jets version, just to compare them all and see how they are. And the Aero Classics version is somewhere down on the bottom, somewhere not even in sight. That's just how bad it is in comparison. But let's take a look here at the Panda variant of the A321neo. I believe this is also my first Panda A321neo, so it'll be interesting to compare the 3 major manufacturers here at some point. I'm very excited to pick this one up because I do need the Delta A321neo for my fleet. It's a very important aircraft, as I do Atlanta, and they fly in there quite regularly every single day. And then also these fly into Vegas as well, coming in from Salt Lake City. This being a Neo, it does of course have the black cockpit window mask around the cockpit windows. We have once again the static ports and the PDOT tubes. We have the SkyTeam logo, the L1 door. Some information about Delta, some of the awards that they have won. We have the forward antenna and the parcel registration of 502 there. You can see the detail on this one is just that much more crisper, a little bit finer than what Gemini Jets puts on theirs. We have the main Delta titles here, as well as Delta's new first class cabin, which did debut on their A321neos. We have an emergency escape hatch. We have the overwing emergency escape routes and doors here, as well as another escape hatch. We have the engines, which are correctly sized on this model, I should mention. Very nicely detailed too. The main gears do roll. And of course, there is the purple winglet. We have it's difficult to tell here, but there is an escape door right here. We have an antenna right there, SATCOM box, antenna, SATCOM box, another escape hatch, US flag, as Delta Airlines is a flag carrier of the United States of America. Then we have November 502 Delta X-Ray, the registration, the L3 door, and then we have the Delta Airlines logo there. So really cool. This is an NX. This is the extended range variant. Easy way to tell the NX from a regular A321neo is the NX has an emergency door missing right here. The regular N has emergency door here, has the typical 8 emergency door configuration, whereas the NX has 6 large emergency exits, 1 up front, 2 in the back, and 4 over the wing. The NX does not have the overwing emergency exits, and instead just has the 4 emergency escape doors that the A321 has. That's how you can tell an NX from an N. Here are the last 5 models for this video. We have a pair of Gemini Jets United Boeing 757s, the Dash 300 and the Dash 200. I picked these up at the ADI booth for $66 for the pair of 2, which is a really, really good deal. He had a sticker on this one that said $33. I was like, is that just for 300, or does that include the 200 as well? Because there was a stack of 4 or 5 200s underneath it. He's like, yeah, it will apply to 200 as well. So I was like, okay, I'll pick up both. So I got both. $66 for the pair. Very good deal. The Gemini Jets 757, not quite as good as the NG 757, but still good, and particularly for $66 for the two, I'll take it. We then have the United Max 9, which I picked up at GG Pilot, got a good deal on that one as well. And then these two Southwest 737 Maxes, the Desert Gold Retro and the Canyon Blue Retro. I picked up the pair. They had a deal by two Southwest for $90. So $45 each. The sticker was $46.95, as you can see there, but I got them for $90 for the pair. And then I believe this one for DG Pilot was like $38 something with the discount I got. So good deals. These are also my first NG 737 Maxes that I've ever picked up, so I'm really excited to take a look at them and see how they look, particularly when compared to the Gemini Jets one, which is a good one, but these I've heard are better, so I'm excited to see how they are. Alright, let's start by taking a look at the very first ever NG Models 737 Max release. This is the Southwest Max 8 in the Desert Gold Retro. I saw some mention, if you put the two boxes side by side, typical NG style, they make a nice little art together. So I always love it when NG Models does that, their box designs, you can put them together and they look really nice together. Not quite so much on the back side, but on the front and the top and the bottom, they put this like little mural together, which is cool. Taking this out, I do have the NG collector card for this. I haven't actually turned in any of my NG collector cards. I need to do that, but yeah. Here's the NG Max 8. Now I've heard that the color on this is off, and yeah, that's not quite right. That gold is not quite correct. Ooh, the winglets I'm noticing are nice and sharp and angled, just like the Max. I think these are actually better than Gemini's. Yeah, this mold looks really, really solid from first glimpse. Canyon Blue Retro, let's take a look at this one. Another card in here as well. And this one, the color does look correct on this one. Of course, NG has made several Canyon Blue 737s for Southwest before, so this will be fairly easy to put that livery onto a Max 8. Everything seems to be good on this one. Alright, Max 9, here we go. Collector card in here as well. This one is also pink, like the others, because I believe these actually came out, they were on two separate releases, but they came out at the same time, so they got the same color collector card. Max 9, the slightly longer one. Everything here looks good, everything is attached like it should be. So yeah, let's take a look at these in closer detail once we unbox the United 737s. Just checking so all the antennas are there as well. They do appear to be. Alright, 7.5s. Here we have the Gemini 752. And of course this is with the updated mold, which looks quite good actually, not gonna lie. This actually looks pretty nice. They have now antennas and SATCOM boxes on it, and of course they have the updated wingtips, which look nice. Ah, that looks so sweet. That looks very nice. Detail level's not quite there with the NG, but for the price, can't complain. And then the 300, I almost ended up on one of these to Chicago, Denver to Chicago, but that ended up not working out. I ended up going through Vegas instead. Stay tuned for a video on that where I talk about that fun journey of how I got back home. That was quite interesting. But yeah, 753. It's my first 757-300 with the updated mold, so really excited to see how this one is. Actually, no, it's my second, because I have a Delta one from 2018 that was actually the first one in this mold. This is the second one I have. Excuse me for bumping the camera. And there's also since been a Delta release on the new mold as well. Taking a look here at the United 757, we got the cockpit windows and the beautiful nose shape, which Gemini Jets does a very nice job on the 757 mold. Again, this is probably one of the better narrow body molds. It's just a little bit outdated. That's really the only thing that I can really say negative about it. We've got Star Alliance logo, connecting people, uniting the world. That is United slogan. L1 door. We have the parcel registration here and the United titles. Antenna up top. We have the engines. These are the Rolls-Royce RB211s. Unfortunately, this one is, of course, pointed upwards a little bit. There is the nice fan blade detail on this side. It's pointed up a little bit too. That's a fairly common issue with the Gemini Jets 7.5s. You see the wing seam there. Because of single piece mold, you can still see the seam. Not ideal. Definitely some of the newer molds are better. Got our dual over-the-wing escape routes. Moving down to the blue wingtip with the scimitar winglet on the 752. And then down here, you can see there is a SATCOM box, United States flag, and the registration. Tail number for this bird is November 48127. We got our L3 door there, and of course the United Evo Blue tail on the APU housing detail, which looks quite nice on this model. We have the 300, which has very similar details to the 200, but of course it's a little bit longer. Got the main titles there, of course our L2 door, our forward antenna, which can be visible right here. Of course it's a bit longer, as you can see. Got our overwing emergency exits as per usual. The engines, the Rolls-Royce engines, these are the, this is an ex-Continental aircraft. But as you can see, there is a third door here, an L3 and an L4 door, which the 200 does not have an L4 door. Due to the extra length and extra seats, they had to put an extra set of emergency doors. We have a SATCOM box and antenna here. Of course, the blue winglet there. Looks quite nice. Tail number on this one is November 75854. This is an ex-Continental one. Now, one thing I noticed when I was taking a look at the rig, you may notice it's hard to tell, but there's a little like dot. It's hard to show here, but there's a little imperfection right about here, like a little thing got poked into the side of the model. It's hard to tell here on camera. You can see it there in the reflection. Right there, see that? Looks like the mold got pierced by something. It's hard to tell what it is, but yeah, that happened. We have our pressure relief valve here, the APU housing detail as per usual, and the Evo Blue tail, which looks quite nice. Finally, we have the Maxes, starting here with the Max 9 from NG Models. It looks super nice here. You can see here that the nose of the NG Max looks a lot more like a 737. You can see it's got this flat area right here, almost like a flat cheek, which is accurate to the Boeing 737. You can see that kind of got that flat definition there. It looks really nice. We got our forward PDOT tubes, our radar nose cone, the forward cockpit windows. Of course, we have the Star Alliance logo, L1 door. There you can see we have our main gear, which has quite a bit written on it, and it's actually legible. It says on the forward section, you can see in the blue there, it says ETOPS. We have our parcel registration, 7508, which is fleet number. You can see in that black section that says 737 MAX. And then behind it, there's 3 stacks of writing, 2 stacks of black and 1 stack of red. It is hard to determine what it says, but it may have the turning limits of this aircraft. You can see that red line there is the do not exceed line. That's also sometimes referred to in the industry as the unemployment line, because if you exceed that, it's automatic termination from the ramp. Here we have the static port for the 737. This looks like an extra window, but it's not. It's the static port on the 737, which is of course heated and it's used for static discharge. United titles. We have a red underneath antenna. There's another static port there. This is the livery that they used on the Boeing 787, which they also put on the 737 MAX, which looks really nice. We have another antenna here. Overwing emergency exits. Right in here is a lavatory on the 737 MAX 9. And we have the engines, the CFM LEAP engines, which look quite nice, and they are well detailed as well, and correctly leveled as they should be. The wheels roll super well as well, which is nice to see. And of course here we have the wingtip, which is both super sharp and well detailed. You can see the angle on it is really nice. It's got an excellent shape, including a little bit of that trailing edge, just like this should be on the Axel Max. A little bit of trailing edge right here, which is good. We have our 2 red antennas on the underside, which is accurate for this tail number. We have the extra emergency door, which is required due to the number of passengers that this aircraft can carry. A gray SATCOM box. I believe this aircraft, its SATCOM box has turned gray, which is cool to see. And another antenna. Of course, on the back, we have the US flag and the tail number, November 37508. APU housing detail, along with the strike there, which is used in case the aircraft has a tail strike, and that prevents where the fuselage from getting damaged. So it's called a tail skid, and it does its job quite well. And you can see the old Evo Blue United Globe logo there. Taking a look here at the Desert Gold Retro. This is the Hog Kelleher aircraft, who was the founder of Southwest. You can see the name there. And we have some information on the nose gear, which of course for Southwest has their fleet number, 871, and E-tops. Cockpit windows, P-dot tubes as per usual. We have the L1 door. Static ports once again here, antenna on the bottom. We got windows, and we have the main emergency exits and the antenna up top, as well as the SATCOM box. I love the red wheel caps that Southwest puts on the aircraft. And then of course we have the CFM LEAP engines, which look very, very nice. And of course correctly leveled. The winglets say southwest.com on them, and of course you can tell there's a lot of nice detail here, including the extension of the wing just a little bit there towards the back of the winglet. It's shaped correctly, it's angled correctly. Best max I've seen so far. We have another antenna right here on the back of the model. Registration November 871 Hotel Kilo, and then the flag of the United States, as Southwest Airlines is a flag carrier of the United States of America. Here we have the Southwest 737 MAX 8. This is the Canyon Blue Retro. Of course, similar details here. We have P-dot tubes, the nice nose cone shape, copper windows. This is the Heroines of the Heart special sticker. This used to have its own aircraft, but now is on the Canyon Blue Retro. Nose gear says 872 and E-tops. We have, of course, the L1 door, forward antenna, stack ports, windows for the cabin. We have an antenna up top, right here, overwing emergency exits, CFM LEAP engines, red caps. The under antennas are white. Nice SATCOM box. Another antenna, November 872 Charlie Bravo. Got the US flag, L2 door. Nice detail overall, got tail skid, and of course Southwest on the back. I love these retros that Southwest does. They generally do nice specials, but this one is particularly nice. So, that is it for Massive Unboxing 16. There are a total of 15 models in this one. So quite a few of them actually. And I'm really, really excited with this selection of models. They're very, very good, and these will be used in my airports. Quite a few of these were on my list. The two Southwest retros technically weren't on my list, but I really wanted them anyway, and so I picked them up. The new Maxes from NG look outstanding. They really, really look good. The Max 8 and Max 9 both look good. I'm just taking a look here actually right now to see if they have the crease on them. And they do, yes. They do have the crease between the passenger compartment and the cargo compartment, which is nice to see. Great models. I love all these models. A bunch of them I've flown on before or seen, which is of course massive criteria for me to pick up the model. So that's basically it for this video. What did y'all think of them? Do you have any of these in your personal collection? With that being said, thank you all so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and God bless you.